A number of people I know, myself included, had books when we were young that contained Bible stories that were illustrated, but pretty sanitized. So what if you want an illustrated book of Bible stories that is true to the actual text? Well, maybe you'd be interested in the book of Genesis, illustrated by Robert Crumb. We're about to do a deep dive into this book. Hello, my fellow readers. My name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky. This is exactly what it says it is. It is the book of Genesis, illustrated by the great underground comics artist R. Crumb. This book came out in 2009. It's based on a new translation of Genesis by Robert Alter, who was at the time a professor of Hebrew and comparative literature at Berkeley. So it is a contemporary translation, not something that's part of an entire Bible translation, but this was a specific work on Genesis that Robert Alter did. So Crumb, of course, leans into the darker side of Genesis. You know, the things, the killings, the destruction of cities, the floods, the famine, the sex, including assault. And this artwork that I'll show you in just a moment is dense and beautiful. And he doesn't shy away from those big long lists, you know, all the begats, or the, it's called Tower of Nations, where it talks about how all of Jacob, Israel's sons and grandsons, became the leaders of their own nations. And he does portraits of all of these people. He doesn't skip over it. He draws portrait after portrait after portrait. It is just phenomenal. There are just a handful of larger images. One of God and his messengers descending on the ramp that leads up to the heavens is just spectacular. So I'm setting aside my own problems with the book of Genesis and the Bible in general, and just looking at what Robert Crumb has done and how he has done his best to be loyal to the text, not to some interpretation of the text or what makes people feel more comfortable about the text, but he actually leans into and reads the words of the text and draws the pictures. And I think this is important, partly for the stories and the myths and the folklore that so much of Western culture relies on. It also has the very most beginnings of Judaism and Christianity and Islam. All of them look back to Abraham. And so understanding this book and how it was presented, and then later on how it was interpreted in so many different ways, I think is a crucial part of understanding Western culture. So this is a book that is worth savoring because it's just so easy to linger over the drawings, the illustrations of Robert Crumb. Check out this book from the public library. I like, where is it? Nothing left out. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. Adult supervision for minors recommended. It's probably a warning that should go on every Bible that's ever been produced, but I like that he put it on there. Great color image of Adam and Eve being driven out of the Garden of Eden on the front. On the back, we get God, and then we get a number of the major characters: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Adam and Eve, Noah, and more. That's kind of a hint of what we're going to see inside. I'm going to show you some of these pictures. Like I said, he doesn't shy away from the difficult parts. So here we have Cain killing Abel. The book doesn't say how Cain killed Abel, but I think that imagining with the rock to the head may make a whole lot of sense. This is in the flood, where God decided there were only 8 people worth saving, and he regretted creating the rest of the human race, and so he drowns everybody. The men, the women, the children, just kills them all. Genocides the world, except for Noah and his family. And I think that this drawing here of those floodwaters coming up and the people and the animals scrambling to try to stay alive, and of course they didn't in the story. But I think it's harrowing, it's dark, but it's what the book says. Let's see. You remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where God destroyed the cities altogether, everybody who was in them. And this whole page, can I get the whole page in? But with the fire and brimstone raining down, come up closer so you can see some of these individual panels. Yeah, just absolutely horrific. And true to the text, this is what the book says. So, Sodom and Gomorrah. So many of these illustrations are really dense, but there are times when he just leaves lots of open space, and the contrast is striking. So when Hagar and Ishmael are expelled from Abraham's camp, and they're walking off. I think that photo, or that, I don't know why I keep saying photo, that illustration right there of Hagar and Ishmael being exiled, and that wide open sky, some birds, just a gorgeous picture, especially when contrasted to some of the intensely detailed pictures that we have in other places. This is the photo I was talking about, where God and his messengers are coming down the ramp that leads up to the heavens, and that is, over half the page. Jacob watches them come down the ramp. That bright white ramp in contrast to the night sky. Good stuff. Oh yeah, and then the story where Jacob goes to work for his uncle, and his wages, he gets paid with a woman, with a wife, is what the book says. But he works for 7 years, and he is asked for the hand of Rachel, but Rachel's younger than her sister Leah, and so Leah is actually given to Jacob, but it's dark and it's night, and Jacob doesn't realize what's happening until the next morning, and then he awakes, and I just love this picture. And it was Leah. Soap opera kind of material there. And this is Jacob again. Yes, so this is one of the sojourns that he goes on, but I think that illustration at the bottom that has all of Jacob and all of his family and his slaves and his camels and donkeys and other flocks, and just seeing them all grouped together like that, I think is just brilliantly done. And then I just wanted to, this is one of the genealogies, and in the old King James Version, you would get Esau begat Taman, who begat Omar, who begat Zephyr, and all. And this doesn't use the word begat because nobody uses that word anymore. I'm not even sure King James used that word. So it talks about who's born to whom, but he doesn't shy away from this. You get portrait after portrait after portrait of all of this genealogy of this is from Abraham down, it might be from Isaac down, I've forgotten, but you just get the whole gallery of the men, because the mothers, why would they matter? I'm being facetious. Again, the book of Genesis, illustrated by R. Crumb, translated by Robert Alter. This came out in 2009. And remember, discretion is advised. Supervision is advised. Well, that's it for today, my friends. I'll be back soon with more poetry, more reviews, more roundups. And until next time, my name is Greg, and this is Ghost Readers in the Sky.
Yippee-yi-yi, yippee-yi-oh, the Ghost Riders in the sky.
And